Boruto, Chapter 26, titled Gift, sees the continuation of us getting to know the character of Kawaki a little bit more, at least before he eventually leads to the destruction of the Leaf Village. We see a little bit more of his origins and how he kind of started out. When he was, the son of Jigen, and these odd experiments that Jigen was, doing or undertaking, which whatever gave Kawaki his powers in the end. Jigen plays the role of a very sympathetic, caring person, but Kawaki is still very, I guess you could say, weary of him. This guy is not very much someone who you'd immediately think of when you think of paternal love. You especially with their haircut. Whatever Jigen did to Kawaki, gave him immense power and abilities. And it had something to do with these people in what looked like IV bags hanging from a ceiling way back when, many years ago, when Kawaki first came in to the care of Jigen. But we find this was a flashback in the form of a dream as Kawaki wakes up in the Konoha medical bay, surrounded by Konohamaru, Shikamaru, and Naruto himself. Naruto does his best in order to make Kawaki feel, safe and protected. However, he immediately makes a break for it, only to be caught by Shikamaru's shadow bind, shadow hold, whatever the name is. Kawaki is informed that he will be left in the care of the Hokage. Um, and will be living with Naruto in order to kind of keep him safe, but also hopefully to get some information, find out exactly what Kara is planning. Shikamaru, however, objects to this very much so. They don't have enough information on this kid in order to put him so close to their village's leader. We also have a bit of a meeting between the five Kage, where they elaborate on the composition of Kawaki's body, the abilities that he wields, as well as the Kara mark. He's able to mutate his right hand, much like Jugo, and create all this weaponry from it, whereas his left hand contains the Kara mark, which is able to absorb chakra. Darui, or no, the Tsuchikage, I forget her name, notes that Boruto has this as well. So it does kind of leave them wondering, should we really allow this kid to just kind of, be free, not be under constant surveillance? Whereas we find out the Naruto at the Kage meeting is actually a shadow clone, and Naruto has taken the time to continuously watch Kawaki no matter what. Having been a former Jinchuriki, Gara agrees to this plan as, both he and Naruto don't want to confine a child just because he has an immense amount of power. Even if he is a more, he could be a weapon used by the enemy, ultimately that was the form that Gara took to a certain degree, and the various, villages had as well. So, treating him like a monstrosity, like a enemy in waiting, could do more harm than good to him as he gets older. So they want to treat him as much as a child and as a person as they can in order to, get him to open up to them more. It's a good plan, but at the same time, it comes with a lot of risks. But the various Kage ultimately agree with Naruto's decision because of the amount of faith they have in him and because they've also been close to various Jinchuriki themselves. Meanwhile, Boruto kind of laments his Kara mark, kind of questioning exactly what this ability is and why he has it. As Boruto's dad, I should say, escorts Kawaki to his home. Kawaki again tries to escape, but Naruto shows off his blinding speeds by catching up to him in an instant, showing Kawaki for one more time that there is no escape. As they make it to Naruto's home, Hinata serves them tea, and Kawaki kind of has a moment where he and Naruto have this back and forth. Kawaki very much understands that ultimately Naruto is just trying to get information on him and more than likely trying to use him as bait. This kid is not letting his guard down. He just wants to know what Naruto's angle in and what Naruto is trying to do. Naruto simply says it's for protection, but everyone knows that's not completely the case. Naruto is trying to get his guard down and trying to get some information and keep a potential weapon out of the hands of the enemy. And with yet again another escape attempt on Kawaki's part, Naruto powers up to full cloak Kyuubi mode just to kind of display the immense amount of power he can let out and just how much that if Naruto really wanted to interrogate Kawaki, he has the power to do so. And it's only because of the good graces and generosity that Naruto displays, that Kawaki is able to move around as much as he can. If he really wanted to, he could destroy Kawaki with little next to no effort. So Kawaki ultimately understands the positions he's in and, resigns himself to the fate of being under the roof of the Hokage. And as Boruto comes back home, he kind of notices that Kawaki will be living with them from today forward, and he kind of takes a little bit of, ire with this, especially when he notices that during Kawaki's escape attempt in the Naruto household, he had managed to knock over a vase that Himawari had made for their mother. Boruto is very much, angered by this because he cares for his family. He very much loves his family, and the very idea of something that Himawari had put so much time and effort into being broken and cast aside just pisses him off to no end, and he demands that Kawaki apologize. Hinata is very much ready to step in, but Naruto wants to kind of, push this almost rivalry. Because the two are around the same age, they will probably have the deepest bonds. And Naruto wants to kind of use this as much as possible in order to get Kawaki to open up a little bit more. And he wants to kind of see what Kawaki does. And as Kawaki notices Himawari kind of sadly picking up the pieces of her vase, he does ultimately apologize in his own, slight way. Though he does continue to glare at Naruto, he does introduce himself as Kawaki while calling Boruto a little shit. Boruto also introduces himself and calls Kawaki a freeloader, although there's a slight wry smile from both Hinata and Naruto. So we're shown the birth of the close relationship that Kawaki and Boruto, go on to have. But it really does beg the question, what caused Kawaki to ultimately decimate the leaf, as we were shown in the very first few pages of the Boruto anime and manga? You know, this shows that Kawaki ended up having a bond with the Uzumaki household, and the events that we see take place at least a few years in the future, say about 2 or 3. So the thought that Kawaki would have ultimately come to be an enemy of the leaf, choosing to cause so much decimation and havoc, I'm interested to see where this ultimately leads to. A lot of people are calling out Naruto on the fact that he allowed someone is so potentially dangerous into his home. But, Naruto, I feel like this is Naruto being cocky to a certain degree. With the immense amount of power that he has, he feels like he'd be able to handle Kawaki, and by all means, he should be able to handle Kawaki. No matter what Kawaki might try, Naruto has the power and capabilities to handle it. But as we're shown later on, that doesn't become the case, and Kawaki is able to completely do away with Naruto, at least in some way, shape, or manner. More than likely using his Kara Seal in order to drain Naruto of his power. But it just, you know, we're really building up to where this story is going, and I'm interested to see what changes, how this character grows and develops. Hopefully, it doesn't become the absolute mess that was Sasuke's character. Hopefully, it ends up being a very interesting turn as he, becomes closer to Boruto and they ultimately have that split. So that's all I really have to say about this chapter. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you feel that Naruto is a fool for bringing such a person into his home, especially given that we already know where everything leads to? Or do you think it's actually a very smart way to go, trying to bring out a more sympathetic angle? So that Naruto can kind of work his family's way into Kawaki's heart. Do you think that's clever tactics on Naruto's part? And what do you think about the developing relationship between Boruto and Kawaki? It's very Naruto and Sasuke, but in a very different angle. As Boruto's, a naturally gifted genius in terms of his schooling and his ninja abilities, whereas Kawaki is the one to hold this immense power within him. So, do you think this will actually be an interesting development as it goes along, or do you feel like this series is just going through the motions of that continued, the two rivals kind of angle? But, tell me your thoughts in the comments below. Leave me a like or dislike if you liked my review, and subscribe for more Boruto and more Naruto in general. Thanks for joining me.